There are a lot of complicated factors that determine what winds up in an archives and what gets lost. In this video, I'm just going to describe a few examples. So archives are really focused on records that are on paper, but not everything that has historic value gets written down. Some communities use oral traditions to transmit authoritative information about their history. Sometimes lack of access to education or not having the paper and the time for writing mean that people don't record their perspectives. This means that wealthy people tend to create more records, especially during times when literacy was less common and writing materials were expensive. Another reason why records may not wind up in an archives is because the creators of documents somehow lost them. If someone moves a lot and sometimes has to leave things behind, if they don't have enough space for storage, if their roof leaks and destroys some of the records, then the records won't get to an archives. Many records never wind up in an archives where they can be cared for and made available to researchers. Individuals may not see their own lives as historically important, or they may not trust the institutions that archives are a part of. Archivists may not be aware of an organization or individual with records that would be a good fit for that particular archives, or they may not have time to reach out and to build relationships with potential donors. And archives have limited storage space and resources to care for materials, and so archivists can't accept everything. We have to make judgment calls based on many factors, including a collection's size, its physical condition, and whether the material appears to be of historic value. But deciding what has historic value is subjective, and ideas about what records belong in an archives can change over time. We've seen how just getting into an archives is one hurdle, but even after a collection is accepted into an archives, there are still opportunities for gaps and silences to occur. If something is hard to find, then in effect, a voice is still silenced. In order to help researchers find things, archivists describe what's in the collection and add keywords to reflect important subjects. But archivists are prone to unintentional bias, just like everyone else. If the archivist doesn't think something is important enough to mention, then instead of a simple keyword search, a researcher has to slog through many boxes of records. There are so many different reasons why a voice may be in the historic record or not. Some of the reasons are based in structural oppression, some of them are down to human connections, and some are just pure chance. The important thing to remember when you start doing research with archival material is that there are always gaps in the records you're working with. It may be obvious whose voices are there and which are silenced, and it may not be. Some gaps are permanent, and some voices are lost forever. And sometimes a gap can be filled or a voice can be heard again.